Hello there. In this video, I'm looking at the clones versus the Mandalorians. Hello AOS fans, Robin here with another Shatterpoint video for you. In this video, I'm going to be comparing and contrasting the clones from Shatterpoint with the Mandalorians from Shatterpoint. So we've got Rex and the clone troopers, and we've got Bo Katan, Kryse, and the Clan Kryse Mandos. So I thought I've done Ahsoka versus Ventress, so I thought we'll do this juxtaposition and see how the two trade off against each other. So we'll start with Rex versus Bo Katan. As you might expect, they're both great at commanding their forces. Both of them cost 4 points, which seems to be a fairly standard cost for a secondary unit. And both of them have lots of synergies and abilities that can then trigger other abilities or give other buffs to their forces and to themselves. Rex has 9 stamina and Bo Katan has 8, and they both have a durability of 2. So they're similarly similar strength there. Rex slightly more wounds than Bo Katan. So let's have a look at their abilities. Both of them have got tactics abilities. Now, if you remember the tactics abilities, they appear on their order card when you're using it, and they will tell you that you can immediately do something. So for Rex, you can use Get a Move On Soldier, and he can make himself or another Galactic Republic unit make a free dash action. Everything we've seen so far from Shatterpoint tells us that action economy is everything. That said, nearly everything seems to have some sort of things that can break the action economy, like this activation, this action that Rex has got, or this ability that Rex has got, and Bo Katan's got something similar as well. When they do make a free dash action, they can gain a hunker token. Hunker tokens, if you remember, they add defense dice against range fire, and they can stack. So if you can get more and more of them, you keep adding defense dice. So if you're going to be wanting to get your clones into a position and then lay down covering fire for their stronger units, you can hunker down on a building top maybe and shoot at things and stay nice and defended, or get on an objective and stay there while shooting down into the centre of the field to try and support your more melee oriented units. Bo Katan has something very similar. She has the Pride of Mandalore ability that enables another Mando unit to take a jump action. So she can't do it herself. It's another Mando unit. So Rex's is slightly better in that respect. But jumping does mean you can go up to elevation. So it's got a different utility to the dash action. It's all about sort of gaining those positions on the board as fast as possible. So just to clarify, the Pride of Mandalore says at the start of this unit's activation, choose another allied Mandalorian character, whereas Rex's says at the start of this activation, choose a character in this unit or another Galactic Republic character. So you can get other Mandos to move or yourself, which is really quite nice. So for their reactive abilities, so abilities that are triggered by something that's happening on the board, Rex's is slightly stronger, but it does cost a force point. So on the face of it, it's better, but it does cost a 4 point, and it can only be used while he's fresh. So before he's got any, before he's wounded, so not when he's taken damage, but when he's been injured and then flipped. So when he's sort of gone through one of his stamina reserves, he can no longer use this ability. I'm Always First Kids allows Rex to make a dash and then either a 5 dice ranged or melee attack, which is pretty powerful. 3 attack's always good. It's not a massively good attack. 5 dice is not that strong, but it's a free attack. You know, ping a point of damage here or a little push there to help claim objectives. Never to be sneezed at. That isn't. Bo Katan's Mandalorians are stronger together. I think that underpinned everything about the Mandalorians. If you haven't checked out the Hello There podcast, it's nothing to do with my Hello There blog, but the Hello There Shatterpoint podcast with a man and I've forgotten the chap's name, Jason I want to say, but I've forgotten his name. And they talk about how everything, the Mandalorians there are underpinned by this kind of Mandalorians are stronger together. So they work really nicely when they're together. It doesn't have a cost, this ability, and it works even when she's wounded. So later game it's still going to be good. It enables her to take a focus action although she does have to be within range 2 of another Mandalorian fighter. For those of you who don't know, focus enables you to add a range attack dice. So it helps you with your shooting attacks. So if you can keep Bo Katan close to some other Mando units, you'll be rewarded then, because she has an innate ability, Mandalore will survive, and if she does take that free focus action, or you make a focus action in the game, she can use the Mandalore will survive ability, and she can then dash and heal for 2. So you've got some nice synergies there already. So Mandalores are stronger together. So after she makes a move action, you can use this. It's free, yeah, you can, if you're close to the Mandalore, you get this focus action, which then, when you make a focus action, you then can do Mandalore will survive. So there's really nice little synergies stacking up there. And just note that it does say their focus actions. They're not just, I don't know, get a focus dice or something, because I have seen some discussion that certain things, which we'll come up to in a minute, but certain things they may need you a jump, but you're not making a jump action, and therefore you can't do something that's triggered off an action. Rex, however, isn't one to miss out on these sweet synergy feedback loops either. One of Rex's innate abilities is Bring It On Clankers, meaning that when a clone trooper unit within range 3 gains a hunger token, which you probably probably gain from Get a Move On Soldier, he can then heal a member of that unit 1. So you get one heal. As he has the clone trooper tag himself, I think he can use this ability on himself, because it just says an allied clone trooper unit, it doesn't say another allied clone trooper unit. So I think he is an ally. He's allied with himself. I think I'm not totally sure of that. But that tends to be how these games work. Further synergy is applied with his Brothers in Arms ability. So when he gains a hunger token, he also gets Steadfast. So that's quite useful. So he can give himself a hunger token from Get a Move On Soldier, and then he would gain Steadfast as well. And Steadfast is pretty good. Steadfast basically stops you from being pushed. So if you're being attacked and not pushed, shoved. If you're being attacked and somebody's got a shove icon, the first one you ignore. So they need to do at least 2 shoves before they actually move you. So Steadfast is pretty strong. But much like Rex had some synergies like Bo Katan did, Bo Katan has some Steadfast action like Rex did. Using her innate ability, some of us will serve a higher purpose. Allied Mandalorian characters within 3 of this unit that are contesting 1 or more active objectives have protection and Steadfast. And again, I think that includes her, because it doesn't say other Mandalorian units. So do correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. I'm not 100% sure of that. That's just how I think it's played. But that protection and Steadfast is really useful. I say Steadfast stops you from being shoved. Protection prevents you from getting pregnant. Protection prevents 1 point of damage from a combat tree action. Talking of combat trees, let's have a little look of them. They're both secondary units, so they only have 1 side each. It's only the primaries who have double-sided ones, so that's a bit less to think about. Rex has a range 5 7 dice attack and a 7 dice melee attack, so that's quite a lot of dice being rolled. Bo Katan has a range 4 6 dice attack, so slightly weaker, and a 6 dice melee attack. So again, on the face of it, worse. Defensively, Rex rolls 5 dice to Bo Katan's 4. So again, not quite as good. Bo Katan's not quite as good. Looking at the expertise, while Bo Katan rolls less defense dice, an expertise roll at a minimum gives her 2 blocks, whereas Rex actually needs to roll 3 expertise to get 2 blocks. So he may have more dice, but actually he's less likely to be, he needs more successes in order to get the same effects as Bo Katan does. Offensively, I think Rex is marginally better. Bo Katan can deal direct damage with a high expertise roll, which is pretty nifty if you look at that later on her expertise chart. On the combat trees themselves, Bo Katan can do some heavy hitting with the potential up to 8 damage. But if you want to outmaneuver your opponent, there are alternate pathways offering options for giving some shoves and a jump. Rex can deal out 7 damage too, but they both need 5 successes to do that. There are a couple of options to make a move too via the reposition icon. Reposition is always available to Rex if he does manage those 5 successes. If you're looking at non-damage options, Rex has access to a couple of shoves, a heal, a pin, and an expose. So he's got quite an array of options there, depending on what path you pick through his tree. Bo Katan's arguably more versatile. It's got more crisscrossing, whereas Rex, you pretty much have to pick one trammel or the other, and you go down that lane and stick with it right till the very end. Support unit wise, Obviously we've got clones and Mandos. You don't have to take them, you don't have to take these, you could pick other support units, but I feel like, you know, that they are better together, literally in the case of the Mandalorians. The clones are cheaper than the Mandos, so that you're looking at three cost for the clones and 4 for the Mandalorians. Much like their captain, the clones can take a defensive maneuver for 1 force point and gain a hunker token, but this only applies to them. They can't pass it on to anybody else. And thanks to their reactive ability, this will then make them steadfast. So they've got that similar synergy to Rex. They also have the very neat coordinated fire ability, which can add the strain conditions. Constrained is really strong. It's if you basically, unless your opponent, if you've got a strain condition, unless you take a recover condition to remove it, or have some other way of removing a condition, then you're going to take 3 damage when you do something. So it's quite controlling because it's going to really cut. They're either going to be getting reasonably close to losing a wound or you know, dying, or they lose a whole action. So it's pretty strong stuff. So it's a pretty nice ability. It's when a character in another Galactic Republic unit makes an attack action as part of a combat action before dice are rolled, this unit may use this ability if the targeted character is within range 5 of a character in this unit. So bear in mind, you could split your clones across the board. You could be covering quite a lot of sort of angles and options for getting extra attacks or extra strain conditions on, not extra attacks, but extra strain conditions on opposing fighters. Mandos, much like Bo Katan, have jetpacks, so that enables them to make a jump move. They also have an ability via their helmet visors to gain the sharpshooter keyword, and basically sharpshooter has a number and it can keep going up, sharpshooter 1, sharpshooter 2, sharpshooter 3. And if you add the number of sharpshooter conditions you've got, I'm not sure condition is quite the right word, but whatever you get up to, you could add that number of dice to your if you take a focus action. So you could, like, if you've got sharpshooter 2, take a focus action and you get +2 dice when you make a ranged attack. It's pretty nice, kind of suggests that they might be quite good at shooting things. This dovetails really nicely with their reactive ability. Mandalorians are stronger together, which is pretty much the same as Bo Katan's. After it's made a move action, they can use this ability, and if it's within 2 hexes of another Mandalorian character, or unit, or no, actually character, not whole unit, it immediately makes a focus action. So again, you've got you're focusing, so you can immediately make a focus action. So immediately your sharpshooter comes into play. Because you've got your helmet visors. Combat tree wise, the clones have quite poor expertise charts. At best, only 1 hit for attacks and most likely only 1 block for defense. Mando's a little bit better, which might reflect why they've got a slightly higher cost. They have slightly less effective range attacks. They shoot 1 less range and they roll 1 fewer dice. The combat trees are quite similar to one another. Much like the leaders are quite similar to another. The Mandos are more aggressive. The clones have some heal opportunities, but the Mandos have more extra conditions, including exposed. The exposed condition makes you basically easier to hit from ranged attacks. It's harder to see, I think, where the extra point of playing Mandos cost over the Clone Warriors. Or what is for me anyway. Like I said, I've talked in the previous video, I'm not that great in the sort of, without actually playing through a game, of working out where some of those kind of reasons for decisions are made. But it just feels to me a little bit like the Mandos don't really seem that much stronger than the clones. But we'll see. Maybe on the battlefield it will be revealed. Maybe just literally being able to jump up to elevations is going to be really strong. It could be if you're playing a very multi-platform game, because you can jump as high as you need to get up to stuff. Then maybe that's going to be. Maybe that's going to be good. Maybe that's going to be stronger than I think it will be without playing. Both the units have the same durability and stamina, so they're equally easy or difficult to take off the board. So again, like I say, I'm not entirely sure why the Mandos are a point more. Maybe just because the Mandalorians are better together ability is pretty powerful, and it powers up it's useful for Bo Katan's ability of the same name. Well, let me know what you think of this video. Hopefully you found it useful. Hopefully you like this comparing and contrasting. There's lots of lovely content providers out there. I'm trying to do things differently to what other people do, just to give you a bit of variety when you're listening. Like I said, I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you'd like to see, any content you'd like to see. It's pretty much only a month away now before the game drops. I'm getting very, very excited about it. So do let me know what you want to see and what you're enjoying, and we'll see you soon on the Agents of Sigmar. Bye for now. Bye.